So how often should you weigh yourself? If you're dieting and or exercising and your goal is to lose weight, how often should you weigh yourself? We get that question a lot, and the answer is, it depends. So I think we can boil this down into several different categories of when you should weigh yourself. Let's talk about each one. One is never. And you think, well, if you're trying to lose weight, why wouldn't you weigh yourself? Well, let's think about it. What you're probably really trying to do is change what you see in the mirror. You want to see a smaller you. It's really not a number on the scale that you're trying to change. You want to change how you look and feel and what you see in the mirror. So one way to do that is by seeing how you look in the mirror and also seeing how your clothes fit. Or you could also do body measurements. And maybe you really don't care about that number on the scale, so there's no need to weigh. Because what you really want to see is a change in the mirror, a change in the measurements, a change in the way your clothes fit. So never or hardly ever is one of the options. So another option may be to randomly weigh. So you're dieting, you're exercising, your clothes are fitting better, and you're thinking, hey, I'm feeling skinny today. My clothes fit better, and I feel like I'm seeing a difference in the mirror, so I'm gonna weigh today, see where I'm at. I think this is a great place to be because it shows that you're not a captive to that number on the scale, and you're just doing it occasionally just to see what the number is. So that's another option, to randomly weigh. Another option may be to weigh on a more regular basis, such as monthly or weekly. And this is where I think it can be really tricky. And it depends on how you think about that number on the scale. And I want to give you an example of a real situation that happened here in boot camp a few years ago. One of the members came to me and she was really excited to do her measurements and her weight. And she was really excited because she had seen a lot of changes. She said she had lost 2 dress sizes, and I was so happy for her. I did the measurements and her measurements were down, and then she got on the scale and the number had not changed. And she all of a sudden went from ecstatically happy to downright sad and mad because the number on the scale didn't change. And I was so frustrated. Don't you see what just happened? You've lost 2 dress sizes, all your inches are down. What difference does it make about the number on the scale? But I could not change her mind. She was so discouraged because she was so focused on the number on the scale and not about the other metrics of her dress size and her body measurements. So if you're that type of person that you're that tied to the number on the scale, then monthly or weekly probably isn't the way to do it. And I would try to get your mind off of that and try to convince you of what it's really all about. You're trying to change your size. You're trying to change how your clothes fit. And another option may be weekly. And weekly could be dangerous because your weight fluctuates. And that's what I want you to understand. Your weight can fluctuate. Even if your diet and exercise plan are solid, your weight fluctuates. So if you happen to weigh every Monday and the number on the scale is one thing on Monday, then the next Monday, maybe it's a little higher because maybe you're just retaining a little bit more fluid, or maybe a couple meals that you haven't got rid of yet. And even if you're on the right track, that still may happen. So if the numbers on the scale are a little bit more, that may be enough to get you discouraged that the numbers were a little off. Once again, I think it just shows you are too tied to that number on the scale and that you don't quite understand yet that your weight fluctuates. So maybe weekly is not the option. Another option would be to weigh daily. And of course, if you weigh daily, you're going to see those daily fluctuations in your weight. Now, you probably know yourself well enough to know how this is going to affect you. If you're the type of person that gets easily discouraged when you see the weight go up 2 or 3 pounds in one day, then that may be enough to get you discouraged and to fall off the program or plan that you're on. But if you understand that you're keeping the long-term vision in mind and that you know that these daily fluctuations are normal, it's no big deal, the weight's going to go down over time, then that's a healthy outlook, and weighing daily is not a problem for you. I think an even better way to do it if you're weighing daily is to take a 7-day average of the weights. Then you're taking into account those daily fluctuations, and then you can compare the weekly numbers instead of looking at the daily fluctuations. So really, when you weigh yourself is how you think about the number on the scale and keeping the long term in mind. So if you know you're staying on a good eating plan, a good exercise plan, and you're not so focused on that number on the scale, that you're also looking at before and after pictures, you're seeing how your clothes fit, maybe you're taking some body measurements. And remember that example I told you earlier about our member who lost 2 dress sizes, but the numbers on the scale didn't change. because if you're building muscle, your body can shrink, but the number on the scale might not change. So keep that in mind and don't be so tied to that number on the scale.